This is Astroneer. For context, Astroneer is a cute space exploration game set in a cool but mysterious galaxy. And here are my challenges. I have to unlock all items, complete all missions, and finish the game in 100 days or less. In my adventures, I'll come across cute animals and dangerous hazards, I will uncover long-forgotten mysteries, and I will save the world? One day is the equivalent of 30 minutes in real life, so start the clock because I'm going in. So this is the start of our journey, the very first day. Right now we are landing on Silva and getting a little base here. There it goes, and I can start completing some of these missions. I'll just go along with them. I've got a small printer, but I also want a medium one, which means I need to get more resources. First on the list is resin and compound. I'm using the tethers to get oxygen while I search for the resources, so first I found the compound, and then there's some resin right next to the base, so I got some of that as well. And while doing that, I also completed some more missions. With the resin, I can craft a canister, and when attached to the terrain tool, this allows me to place terrain, flatten terrain, and then I can dig to fill the canister back up. I collected some more resin to complete another mission, but there are still more missions to come, so I'll have to complete all of those. Anyways, the rewards were pretty good for this one. I got some storage space, and I can start crafting the medium printer. Then I can use the medium printer to craft a ton of other things, so I'm starting with a medium platform. I unlocked it with some bytes, and now I'm crafting it because I'm gonna need it to expand the base. On the second day, I found dynamite right next to the base. It was on an old rover that was kind of broken down, but I can get some more compound from here, so I'm gonna do that. We're gonna need a ton of it, so better to stock up right now. Next, I'm heading into the caves because we need glass and aluminum, so that means we need quartz and laterite. There are also a lot of these plants that will explode when you dig them up, so I'll do that before, and then I can also scan their samples for bytes, and this will help us get more bytes and unlock more items. So I'm just searching for any resource that I can find first between quartz and laterite. Those are the ones that we need right now. And here's all the quartz that we need. We're not gonna get all of this because it's a lot. I'm just gonna grab whatever I can in the backpack, and then we're gonna head back to the base. I'm back at the base with the quartz. I've also got some other items, but now I need to craft some things. So first it's the resource chamber. We're gonna need that to get even more bytes and unlock more stuff. Then I'll also need to get the large printer. We'll use that for some larger items down the road. I'll connect it to power and everything, so that's great. And then we can get a research sample from here, or a research item actually, and this will get us a ton of bytes. We just need to turn it on, and it uses quite a bit of power, but I guess that's okay for right now. I also completed some missions and got some more rewards, and then it's straight back in the caves for me to get some aluminum. I found some laterite here. It took me quite a while, but I finally got it. So I took all that I could, and I'm back at the base now, where I can unlock the smelting furnace. The crafting process is pretty slow because we don't have a ton of power, but we're gonna fix that in just a moment. We can set these on platforms, both the large printer and the smelter, and I'll connect them like this. Now we can smelt our aluminum, and there it goes. It's day number 3 and I'm in the mountains getting some malachite. I can smelt this into copper because I need that for solar panels. We're having a real power problem at the base, but now I'm having another problem with the terrain here because the mountains are pretty hard and the terrain tool cannot dig through them. It's really slow, so I will need a drill mod, but that requires even more bytes and ceramic, which I don't have right now. I can smelt that, and in the meantime I'll also unlock the tapper because I've got extra aluminum. I can use this to get infinite organic basically, and then I can use the organic to get more power. I'll also unlock the solar panel, and I can use copper to craft that. I also completed some missions, and I got a small battery as well, so that's gonna help. Now I just need to find the trees that give you the seeds. So here's one. I got 2 seeds from that. I can place them right next to the base, and I'll put the tappers on them. So I can just plant them like that and they'll grow. Now I can place the tappers, 1 on each. That's pretty nice. I'm just using some compounds to get small generators, and we can place the organic in there and get 2 units of power from each generator. Next, I want to explore the planet a little bit more, so I'm gonna need a buggy. I have all the bytes to unlock that, and I already have all of the materials. I'll also get a rover seat for that, and in the meantime I'll place some more solar panels as well because we need more power. But here's the buggy. I got the seat and a small generator on it, so I got power while exploring. And now I can drive this around the entire planet in a matter of minutes, so now we can explore. While driving around with the buggy, I used the compass, and I can see right there a purple point. That's a gateway chamber, so I'm determined to unlock that. I brought a ton of small generators. I think we need 5 or 6 units of power per second, and then to maintain that power for 30 seconds, and that should unlock the gateway. So I'll just get the buggy up there, then I can set all of the small generators next to each other on the ground, connect all of them up and turn them on, and now it's just a matter of time before the gate unlocks. So there it goes. Now we've got it unlocked, we can look into the odd stone as well. And if you don't know, you can basically teleport between all of the different gateways on a planet if you have them unlocked. Right now I only have one, but you need at least one of them in order to unlock the core. But we're gonna get to the core in a couple days. On day 5, I really need to get some more resources and bytes. The research chamber can also research organic, so that's gonna get us a little bit of bytes, but I want a research item. So I went ahead and grabbed one. I also have some extra resin, so I can craft more platforms and storage. That's gonna be really important because I don't want to leave all the items on the ground. That can cause lag and all sorts of other issues. I also completed some missions. These gave me some items and a ton of bytes, which I really enjoy. I need all of the bytes I can get right now. Now using the buggy, I can get even more resources, and I found some graphite right here, so I'll go ahead and grab that. But I'm still struggling with the harder terrain, so I'll need that drill mod fast. On day 6, it's all about expanding the base. I got some platforms here, I've got storage. I'm gonna need all of that storage, by the way, because I plan on getting even more resources. And I realized that searching for clay around the planet is gonna take quite a while, so it's much easier to just get it at the soil centrifuge. That's why I unlocked the soil centrifuge and I started crafting it already. And now I can unlock the drill mod. So here's the clay, now I need to smelt it into ceramic, and only then I can use the ceramic to craft the drill mod. But once I have that, drilling is gonna be so much easier, so I'm really excited for it. I also want the large storage, which also uses ceramic, but I need more bytes for that, so I got another research item for the research chamber. And I also got more soil for the soil centrifuge so that I can produce even more clay. I also went back to the mountains to get more malachite, and it's a lot easier with the drill mod. So that was worth it, it does help a lot. On my way back from the mountain, I nearly suffocated, but I got to the buggy just in time. I'm glad for that. And now that I'm back at the base, I can smelt all the malachite that I got from the mountain. And I can also unlock the large storage. I also have the materials to craft a couple of them, so I'll just do that. And in the meantime, I can clean up the base a little bit and put the storages on platforms. But I also got the small and medium printer on a separate platform with some medium storages next to them so that I can place resources on there and set them on repeat to create even more things. But the base is coming along pretty nice right now. I've expanded it quite a bit, but I'm still having an issue with bytes. I need a ton of them and I don't have them. So clearly I need to fix that. On day 7, I went out with the buggy and I found an interesting structure. I dug inside of it and I found some cool items, some resources, but also a jump jet, which allows me to double jump basically, but more importantly a dynamite, which will come in very handy. Then when I was returning to the base, I found that a subscriber had joined my game through Steam. So naturally we had a dance battle, which I think I won, but I leave it to you in the comments. Who do you think won this dance battle? Please let me know down in the comment section below. But right now I need to forget about all my dance moves and get back to building that byte farm. So for this I'm gonna need auto arms. I finally have all the bytes needed to unlock that, and one auto arm requires aluminum and graphite, which luckily I have both of those. I also need an extra research chamber, and then the auto arms will just take the organic from the tappers and place it in the research chamber so that the research chamber can always produce bytes even when I'm not in the base. 2 research chambers are pretty good, I set them up, but I decided to go for a third one because why not? I need a ton of bytes, so I'm gonna get a ton of them. I set up a third one with another research chamber, another auto arm, and another 3 and a tapper. But now all of these are using all the power in my base, so I've got a different problem now, but I think I can solve it. The following day I found some ammonium. I looked for this quite a while, but it was right behind my base. Anyways, now I have the ammonium I need to get solid fuel thrusters. These are not too expensive on bytes, but they require ammonium, and now that I finally have it, I can craft 3 of them, and I'm gonna use these to get off the planet, but for that I'll also need a small shuttle, which does require a little bit more bytes. In the meantime, I also used the ceramic to craft some more wind turbines, and I added them to the power section of the base. And then I headed in the caves to get more sphalerite. I actually had a mission that required me to get 3 of it, but I got some more. Now I have all the bytes to unlock the small shuttle, and I can craft it using 2 aluminum, but I only have 1 left, so I guess I need to head back in the caves to get some more laterite. Before I do that, I can claim the rewards for the mission that we completed, and I got this strange object. This is actually for the Rails missions, which I am gonna complete in the following days, because I told you I will complete all of the missions in Astroneer. In the caves I found the laterites that I needed. Now that I'm back from the caves, I can actually start crafting the small shuttle. It's actually the morning of day 9 right now. The shuttle is finally done, so I can unpack it. I also have the solid fuel thruster, which is good for a round trip to a planet and back. So I'll just place the shuttle to the side for now, and I'm gonna use it in the following days. I also got some more solar panels because I'm still having a power issue, but other than that, the base is working pretty smoothly. And now it's time to blow some stuff up. So I gathered all the dynamite that I found on the planet while exploring with the buggy in previous days, and now I just need to get out with the buggy and look at the compass. Once I see a green thing, I can just go towards it, and right as I say that, here it is. I actually have to dig down for this one, so I hope nothing bad happens. And then, of course, something bad happened. I got respawned back at the shuttle, so I have to run all the way back to my buggy, but I don't have enough oxygen, so I'll just take a resin, I'll craft oxygen filters, and I'll do it that way. Now that I'm back, I took the buggy into the caves, so that doesn't happen again. And here's an exo cache, I finally found it. I can attach a dynamite to it, and boom, it goes. In it, there are some exo chips, I can gather all of them, but I will also gather the debris because this will get us scrap once we have a shredder. Now I need to find another one, so here it is. I'll blow this one up and I'll get even more exo chips. And I'm gathering these for a really good reason, because in the next day I want to build a large rover. Getting everything for the large rover actually took me 3 days because I needed some advanced materials. So first I unlocked the chemistry lab, and now I need to go to Calidor and get some wolframite because we need tungsten. So I'm on Calidor, and this planet is immediately more dangerous than Silva. Plants are actually shooting at you, you've got spiky plants and all of that, so this is a more dangerous planet. Still, it's really tame compared to other planets that we're gonna go to. But anyways, I found some wolframite. I didn't get as much as I would have wanted, but it's still good enough. So now I can actually use the tungsten and craft the chemistry lab, which will help me get all of the advanced resources. I've set the chemistry lab on a platform and I got some storage for it as well. And next I have to unlock the large rover, but that requires 5,000 bytes, which I don't have. So I'll have to gather some research samples while the byte farm is still going. But in the meantime, I can start getting resources from the chemistry lab. So first is rubber and then aluminum alloy as well. I'm also adding some storage space to the base because I need some more. And I realized I have completed some missions, so I claimed those rewards. But now I finally have all of the bytes to unlock the large rover, and I have all the materials to craft it. I also crafted the seat and the storage with some power items on it. This will help power the rover. While I was doing that, I also got enough bytes to unlock the wide mod, so I'll go ahead and craft that as well. This paired with the drill mod will allow me to dig into harder rock, but also dig a wider surface. And this is much wider than before, so I'm gonna be able to collect resources so much easier. Apart from that, I also got a work light so that I can see better, especially in the caves. And now I can power the rover with organic and drive around the whole planet. I'm also adding some storage on it, and this will make it so easy to collect a ton of resources. I can just go around the whole planet and find exactly what I need, then bring it back to the base. So it did take 3 days, but I finally have the rover equipped with everything I need. It's day 13 and it's time to unlock the core of the planet. So that means going into the caves and digging straight down. I got a ton of tethers, and I hope this will be enough to get me to the very core of the planet. Rain is getting harder as I go down, but having the drill mod and the wide mod really helps a lot. And the tethers don't only provide oxygen, they also provide me with power from the base so that I can use these mods without running out of power. As I dig down, I finally reach the mushroom cave. This is one of the best biomes in the whole game. It's all filled with extremely large glowing mushrooms, and it's really beautiful. But going further down from there, I reach this green rock, which is extremely hard to mine. I only have the drill mod 1, but if I had the second or the third one, this would be so much easier. Anyways, it's slower, but I can still get to it with the drill mod 1. And because the terrain is getting this hard, that means I must be close to the core. And there it is actually. I think I can jump straight into it because the core also provides oxygen. At least that's what I remember, so I hope I'm right. But I made my way into the middle of the core, and here there's the symbol for quartz, and I have 2 of them. That's because I'll need 1 geometric triptych to unlock the core and another one for the ending of the game. I'm making sure to get these ones from every planet as I unlock the core so that I don't have to come back, because I need to do all of this in just 100 days. But I placed the first geometric triptych on the other side of the core, and now the core is unlocked, which means I can fast travel here at any time I want. But right now I'm just going back to the gateway chamber that I previously unlocked, which should be close enough to the base that I can make a run for it through the forest. For the next couple of days I built a scrap farm, but first I got the rewards for unlocking the the core, which were 2000 bytes and 1 QTRTG. I'll hold that in the backpack to have a constant source of power. So the first thing I need to unlock is the large shredder. This will be used to shred debris and other stuff and turn them into scrap, which we can then trade with at the trade platform. But in order to craft the large shredder, I'll need iron and tungsten carbide. So for the iron, I have to go to Glacio to get hematite. But I have all the materials for the tungsten carbide, which is just tungsten and carbon. Here I am on Glacio and I finally found some hematite, but I'll need some more. So I found another node of hematite, and this was a little bit bigger than the first. And then I also went looking for some research samples under the plants, because the research samples on Glacio get you a ton more bytes than on other planets. So yeah, I got a ton more bytes from that, and now I have the iron to start crafting the large shredder. I also got a platform for it, and I can feed the consumed thrusters into it, and this will get us scrap. The next thing is storage, because the scrap needs to be stored somewhere, and then I'll also need some auto arms to grab it. I'll use a soil centrifuge for this scrap farm because it's a beginner's scrap farm, but I'm gonna build a bigger one later on. So the auto arms should be able to grab the scrap from the shredder and place it into the storage, and they should be able to feed the canisters into the shredder. Then all that's left is the printer, so I unlocked the medium platform B. That was really cheap on bytes. I can use this platform to place the printer on it as well as a medium storage, and then I can set up the soil centrifuge as well with auto arms in between each platform. Now I can just put soil in there, and the soil centrifuge will create resin. That resin will go into the platform with the printer on it, and the printer will create canisters on repeat, so anytime it gets resin, it just creates canisters. And another auto arm puts the canisters into the shredder so they get turned into scrap and then placed into storage. So this is a pretty small scrap farm, but it's gonna be good enough for right now. However, I still need a trade platform to use it. So I spent the next 2 days getting the trade platform. I first unlocked it, but in order to craft it, I need tungsten, so I guess I'll need to go back to Kelidor. Before I do that though, I need to get more power into the base, because the scrap farm is also taking a lot of power and the whole base just needs some more. That's why I got some extra trees. I planted them right next to the base, and then I got some auto arms to grab all the organic from the tappers and feed it into a platform. On the platform, I got a ton of small generators, so this should provide all the power that I need, but I think I'll have to get a couple more trees in there. But now I'm back on Kelidor and I found some more wolframite this time. I'll get a ton of it, because if I need it again, I don't want to have to come back. So with the wolframite already smelted into tungsten, it's time to start crafting the trade platform, and I can place it right here at the end of the scrap farm. That's gonna make it easy to take the scrap and put it in the platform. But as I said, I also got some more trees in there to get even more power out of those small generators. And now that I have all that scrap, I can use the trade platform, and I think the first thing I want to get is laterite, because I need some more aluminum. And just like that, the platform comes back with the laterite. I can smelt it, and I have all of that without having to go into the caves searching for it. It's day 18 right now, and I want to unlock the solo as well, a gateway and the core. So I got another solid fuel thruster, and I can travel to the solo. I'll land right next to a gateway chamber, and again I'm using some small generators to unlock it. I only need some organic, so this isn't too hard. So there it goes, the gate is unlocked, and I can look into the oddstone. But next I need to unlock the core as well, so I better start digging. I have no power source here because I don't have an oxygenator on the shuttle. I can't attach tethers to it. That means I'll have to grab the shuttle and go with it to the very core. While digging down, I also found an astronium deposit, so this is gonna be really good because we can use it for the trade platform, and it's gonna get us some pretty good resources. So I jumped into the core along with the shuttle, and for the solo I'm gonna use zinc to unlock it. Again, I'm gonna get 2 triptychs, one for this core and one for the ending. So I just put a triptych in the middle, and now the core is unlocked. Next, I want a large shuttle with a hydrazine thruster, so I spent the next days getting all of that. First, for the hydrazine, I'll need hydrogen, which means I need to unlock the atmospheric condenser. I can place it right here in the base because there is hydrogen on Silva, so I can go ahead and turn it on. I also put it on repeat, but it does use quite a bit of power. That shouldn't be too big of an issue anyways. But there's another way to get hydrazine as well. I can use astronium to get hydrazine at a trade platform, so I'm going to do that as well, but I only have a limited amount of astronium, so that's why we also need to craft it at the chemistry lab. Next, I'll unlock the hydrazine thruster, but for that I'll need steel, and to craft steel I need argon, and that cannot be found on Silva, so that means I'll have to go to a different planet and set up a small outpost there. I landed on Vesania, and because I don't want to make multiple trips, I got all of the items that I need to craft everything, so I can get a small printer. With that I'll craft a medium printer, and with the medium printer I'll craft a platform so that I can place the atmospheric condenser on a platform, because you can't use it otherwise. And I've got a set of small generators to provide the power for everything. So I went ahead and did all of that. Now I can turn on the atmospheric condenser and I can start getting argon. I'm actually gonna wait until I get a couple of it. So here's the first argon. I'm gonna let it do at least one more. And now that I'm back at the base, all I need to get is 1 iron and 1 carbon and I can start crafting the steel. So there it goes. I've got steel, which means I can finally start crafting the hydrazine thruster. And I've got a lot of hydrazine as well, so that's good. But now I need the large shuttle. I won't unlock the medium one because I think that's just a waste of time, so I'll go straight for the large one. I also put the hydrazine into the thruster and now I have enough bytes to unlock the large shuttle as well. But for that I'm gonna need some other materials. For titanium alloy I need nitrogen. Luckily that's the other gas that you can find on Silva, so I can get it right here in the base. I also got a gas canister as a reward for completing a mission, so I can place that next to the atmospheric condenser. And the other ingredient in titanium alloy is graphene, but in the meantime I'll trade for the titanite, which is pretty expensive. You need 2 scrap for 1 titanite. But anyways, I basically have all the materials for the large shuttle except an exochip, so I'll have to go and find one more. Luckily I found multiple exocaches and placed all of them next to each other because I only have 1 dynamite left, so I used that to explode 3 of them, and this basically got me a ton of exochips. I think I got 7 of them, and now I can start crafting the large shuttle. After quite a bit of crafting, it's finally done and I can place the hydrazine thruster on it. Now I'll just get some storage on it so that I can use it for whatever resource I need. And the next thing is getting a fluid canister so that I can store all of the hydrazine on the shuttle. But I just realized I completed a mission which gave me a ton of bytes, so now I can unlock the fluid and soil canister. So there it goes, I can unpack it right there and it's gonna get all of the hydrazine in it. I also used the trade platform to get even more ammonium to craft some more hydrazine because I want to fill up this whole fluid canister. And I can just place it on the shuttle and there it is, the shuttle is finally complete. It's day number 22 and it's finally time to place the strange object, and this should start the snail missions, during which I'm gonna go to all of the planets and get all the snails, and each one will give me a different superpower basically. Now I can get the reward for completing the first mission, and the next one is to add an oxygenator into the xenobiology lab, and now I need to provide power, so I just took a small generator and that should be enough. Now I can activate it and there it goes. I can get the reward for that mission as well, and the next one requires me to get 5 shells from the forests of Silva. Luckily there's a forest right next to the base and finding these wasn't too hard. So anyways, I got 5 of them, completed the mission, and now I can get the reward for that, which is an empty terrarium that we need to fill. For the snail on Silva we'll need to provide soil, zinc and the bounce vine seed. I found the bounce vine in the mountains and I got a seed from there. So now I completed the terrarium with the environment that the snail needs inside of it, and once I get the reward for this mission, that will be a small trumpet horn which I can place on top of the terrarium, and this will call the snail. So there's Sylvie. Now all that I need to do is dance for a couple times until I befriend her. And just like that she got into the terrarium, and whenever I need light I can just feed her a seed and that's it. Now it's time to scan Sylvie and into the microwave she goes. And the next mission I got is to provide even more power to the lab, so I'll use the small generator again. And I need to activate it one more time. Now I got even more entries in here. If you really want to read them, you can pause the video, but I'm not gonna go through all of that right now. The next mission requires me to go to the solo, and it's the same thing. I need to find 5 shells, and now I'm back on Silva to get the empty terrarium for the solo. I need to get in the caves for this one, but luckily I've got all the light from Sylvie. And I also brought a portable smelter so that I can get any resource that I need from the planet where I get the snail. In this case we're on the solo and we need malachite, as well as soil obviously. And then it's just 1 Dagger root seed, and there's Usagi. I need to dance again. I hope I'm impressing him with these dance moves, and just like that I can befriend him. And all snails have their own cute emote, which I think is really nice. But anytime I feed a seed to Usagi, he will show me on the compass all of the points of interest, so I might see where I want to go next. Now it's time to scan him as well, and that should complete the mission. I can get all the rewards for the missions I've just completed, and for the next one it's time to head to Calidor. As I was collecting all the shells in the caves of Calidor, it's already the next day, and I'm back on Silva to complete the mission and get the empty terrarium. For this one I need soil, copper and the wizweed seed. And there's Stilgar, so it's time to dance yet again. I finally befriended him, and now I got the superpower of infinite oxygen. So whenever I feed a seed to Stilgar, he's gonna provide oxygen for 10 or 20 minutes depending on the seed. He's one of the best, by the way. Now it's time to scan him as well, and the next thing I need to do is provide an exochip and activate the lab, and this will spread its signal wider so that I can go to distant planets. I also got another mission called Wholesome Produce, where I need to plant some seeds so that I can feed the snails. But now it's time to go to Vesania and Novus. So I found all of the 5 shells from Vesania, then I went over to Novos and I found 5 of them over there as well. But for Novos I had to find them in the crumbling stones inside the caves, which was pretty cool to be honest. But now that I'm back on Silva, I can complete both of the missions to get 2 empty terrariums. And first I'm gonna do the one on Vesania. For this I need lithium, a lash leaf seed and some soil. And here's Princess, so it's dance time again. I befriended her as well. And now whenever I feed her a seed, she will make me invincible for a period of time. As you can see, I'm taking no damage from any sort of environmental harm. But I went over to Novos as well, where I need a thistle whip seed, iron and soil. And now I can dance with Rogel. I befriended him and he will provide 6 units of power whenever I feed him any seed. That's the equivalent of 6 QT RTGs or 1.5 RTGs, which means it's a lot of power to have in your backpack. Back on Silva, I scanned both of them and got the rewards for the missions I just completed. And now I need to boost the signal of the lab again, so I need to add power, 2 exochips, and we got even more data entries right now. It's already day 25 and the next stops are Glacio and Aatrox, which both have harder terrain, so I'm gonna need a drill mod. I've got the drill mod 1, but that's not enough, so I unlocked the drill mod 3 and I got some dynamite from the trade platform because I'm gonna need that. I crafted the diamond and with that I can craft the drill mod 3 and I just shredded the drill mod 1 because I don't need it anymore. So my first stop is on Glacio, where I need to explode these ice chunks. I found some of them here on the surface, so I blew them up and I got some shells, but I'll have to find the rest in the caves. That's why I needed the drill mod, but I found a ton of them and I scanned all the shells that I needed, so it's time to go to Aatrox. Here, if I want to find the shells, I need to find spew flowers and dig underneath them. That's gonna make them explode and the shells will be right under them. So I got 5 shells as usual and I returned to Silva to get both of the empty terrariums. And I noticed that for the Aatrox snail, I'm gonna need to provide helium, which I can only find on Aatrox. That's why I decided to bring an atmospheric condenser with me. On Glacio, I need to add the pop coral seed, soil and argon. Luckily, I had argon in the base on Silva already. So this one was pretty easy, but here's best FR, so I better dance. I finally got him befriended and I can add him to the terrain tool. He will provide both a boost mod and a wide mod at the same time. All I need to do is feed him some seeds. But right now I'm on Aatrox, I've set up my atmospheric condenser and I'm getting helium. It's really slow because I don't have a lot of power, but Rogel is helping me a lot. Now it's time to fill the terrarium with soil, a spine lily seed and the helium. And now I can dance in front of Enoki and this will befriend him as well. Now that I got him in the backpack, I can just feed him a seed and he boosts my sprinting speed and I can jump much higher. So this makes exploration a lot easier. I had to scan both of them back on Silva and now I got the final snail missions, which is called All Together now. So I need to place all of the snails on top there and they should start singing their signature song. This is amazing, so I'll let you listen to it for 5 seconds. So now I can activate the lab one last time and I've got all of the entries unlocked. And when I claim the reward for the mission, I also got the lab suit, which is a cool cosmetic item. But more importantly, I got some QT RTGs and an RTG, so this will help me a lot. I spent the next couple of days getting all the resources to build a base on Glacio. But I started with planting some seeds next to the base so that I can always feed the snails. I also got some more scrap because I needed to trade for resources, especially ammonium because I need a lot of hydrazine. Next I crafted some auto arms because you never know when you need some. And now it's time to unlock the extra large platform C. This is basically like the platforms I've been using through the base but much bigger. So I'm gonna craft a couple of those. Now I can start crafting all the basic things that I need, like the smelter or the soil centrifuge. And it's time to find the perfect spot for a base on Glacio. I think I found it, so I started flattening some terrain and I can just unload the shuttle here. I also placed a beacon so that I don't lose this spot. Next I also crafted a chemistry lab, a trade platform and then an atmospheric condenser as well. And it's time to unlock the medium resource canister because I'm gonna need that a lot. Time to go back to Glacio with even more resources. Now it's time to unpack some platforms here and the base is gonna be made of 2 parallel sets of platforms, which is gonna make it so much easier to move stuff from one side to the other. So then I simply just unpacked all of the things that I need. I put all the printers on one platform, so that's the printing platform. Then I placed the smelter and the trade platform on another one and the chemistry lab and atmospheric condenser on the last one. Then I also added some storage and a ton of medium resource canisters next to the soil centrifuge. It's already day 30 and I'm still placing more storage on here. Now it's time to also craft a buggy and a seed for it. I'll also place a QT RTG so I got enough power. I found some pickle pods, so I'm gonna get the seeds to use them for a power farm and I can just plant them next to the base here. I just realized I never connected the 2 sides of the base, so I'm gonna use some extenders, but I'm gonna put them underground so you can't see them in the middle of the base, because I think this looks much better. Next, it's time to place the tappers on the pickle pods, and this will just produce a ton of organic. I've also got a platform with a ton of small generators, and now I can start unpacking some auto arms. From day 31 all the way to 34, I established a gas outpost on Aatrox, but first I needed a shredder in the base on Glacio, so I got a ton of iron from right next to the base, and then I got the other materials, so I finally have a shredder. I unpacked it right next to the trade platform, and I unlocked the glow sticks, so now I can use organic to craft glow sticks in my backpack and feed them into the shredder. Using the tappers, I can get infinite organic, which basically means infinite scrap. It does take a while to craft them manually, and there's no way to craft them with any other printer. Now that I've got everything I need, I'm on Aatrox and I can start unpacking all of this. I actually came back to the old gas farm I had, and now I'll have 4 atmospheric condensers, each getting a different type of gas. I need more power in here, so I just got some random seeds and I've got some tappers. That way I can build another small power farm using the tappers and small generators. I brought some methane from Aatrox and I returned back to Glacio to create some silicone, and I will use the silicone to get medium gas canisters. These are really important because they allow me to get a ton of gas from each type. So I have 4 atmospheric condensers on Aatrox, which means I've got 4 gas canisters, 1 for each of them. So we've got methane, nitrogen, sulfur and helium all being crafted on Aatrox. I will come back a couple days later when all of the canisters are full and I can take them back to Glacio. It's day 35 and I think it's time to unlock the paver and the drill. Of course, the drill strength 3, I'm going straight to that. I'm skipping the ones before because they make no sense. So I will need some advanced resources for this. I used the shredder paired with the trade platform to get all the materials that I need, and I can finally start crafting things. So first is the aluminum alloy, then I need to get rubber, and after that it's time to get some graphene. I will also need titanium alloy, and then the final thing is diamond. I need exo chips as well, so I found an exo cache and I blew it up. And now that I got everything I need, I can start crafting the large rover as well as the paver, and once that's done I can start crafting the drill strength 3. I also got some plastic because I want to get a soil canister to place on the rover, so the drill will get soil and the paver will place it back. We can do whatever we want basically as long as we've got soil in that canister. I can just build a road to wherever I want, and then I can also head into the underground and get into the caves. I can use this to get to the core of the planet. Basically this opens up the entire exploration of Astroneer. Next I want to build a huge byte farm because I'm gonna unlock a ton of stuff, but first I also need some hydrazine for the shuttle, so I use the rover to mine some ammonium and then I can turn all of that into hydrazine, and it's pretty easy. Then it's time to start crafting atmospheric condensers. So I've got 4 extra large platforms with an atmospheric condenser on each one. And now it's time to move on to the next step, which is get a ton of research chambers. For that I'll need a ton of resin and compound, but luckily I got my soil centrifuge to get all of those. And then it's time to mine some more soil with the rover so that the soil centrifuge has something to work on. Finally, I have all of the research chambers, so I can start unpacking each and every one of them. And now I can turn on the atmospheric condenser, so I set them on repeat and they're getting argon, and now I can turn on all of the research chambers. Now every time the atmospheric condenser gets an argon, it will be automatically placed in the research chamber. And by morning, all of the research chambers are full and they're all getting bytes. And I'm getting over 600 bytes per minute right now. You can see how fast the byte number is going up, so this is amazing. And I got all the hydrazine that I needed for the shuttle. While I'm getting a ton of bytes from the byte farm, I can start completing some missions, so I decided to start with the Wanderer missions. First, I got a landing pad because I'm definitely gonna need that. I can unpack it right here next to the base, and now I can access it to see all the missions and claim the rewards. First, I need to complete the mission called 2 parts unknown, which means I need to craft and install an oxygenator on the shuttle. So I went ahead and did all of that, and I've got the mission completed. This means I can start the first Wanderer mission. This mission is called Echoes of the Past, and I need to unlock and print a probe scanner. Luckily I have all of the bytes to unlock it, and to print it I need a steel. So there it goes, I've got a probe scanner, and if I attach it in one of the top slots on the backpack, I can use it to scan around the environment, and this should basically send me in the general direction of where the first probe will be. By the way, the snails are extremely good for this. I have all of the power-ups like power, increased speed, I've got light, I've got oxygen, my terrain tool is boosted, so all of that is going on. And I finally found the first probe. Now I can put a probe scanner in there, but the Wanderer appears out of a portal and it seems like he wants to take my picture. So here's the picture. I forgot to smile, but I'm definitely gonna do that next time. So that's great, but I'm gonna need a probe scanner for each planet, which means I need to get 6 more steel. Now that I've got all of that, I can craft all of them and I can equip the shuttle with everything I need. And the new mission here tells me each planet that I've been to and what planet I need to go to next. I don't need to complete them in a particular order, so I just went to Vesania. Here I found an interesting beacon, but that's for another set of missions that I'm not gonna start right now. So anyways, I used the probe scanner and it sent me in the direction of the next probe, which I found. I placed the probe scanner in there and the Wanderer took another great picture of me. Next up, it's Novus. Of course, I did the same thing over here as well, and the Wanderer appeared yet again. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but each of these probes has an actual name, and their name references a real-life satellite that we sent out. I actually have a video explaining all of these and going into the actual Wikipedia page of the real-life thing, just for a little bit of Astroneer lore combined with some real-life history. Next up, it's Calidor, and the probe here is huge. That's because this is the Hubble Space Telescope, but I did the exact same thing, and the Wanderer took a not-so-great picture of me this time. Landing on Aatrox, I can get all of the medium gas canisters because they're all full, so I just place them on the shuttle and I'll bring them back to Glacio after I'm done with the Wanderer missions. I'm not gonna lie, finding this one on Aatrox was pretty hard because the terrain is difficult to navigate, but I finally found it, and this is a pretty small one, but the Wanderer appeared again and I got another cool picture. The last two that I need to get are on the Solo and Silva. So the Solo was pretty easy because it's really small, so I found it in like no time. An actual cool thing I found out is that you can place the probe scanner on the buggy and use it that way, and this works great. I also found one of these huge platforms from the road trip update in here. We're gonna get to those missions a little later, but the Silva probe was in the mountains, so I had to dig my way up there and I can unlock it, get the last full picture, and now it's time to head back to Glacio. Now that I'm back, I can collect the rewards for these missions, and I got a ton of bytes for that, but I also got an RTG, which is pretty nice. Next, I think it's time to expand the base a little bit more, so I need more power. I got a ton of boom balloon seeds, so I planted all of those, and this is gonna be a setup exactly like the one next to it, it just has a ton of small generators. Now it's time to get to the next thing, which is a scrap farm. Now, this is gonna be a pretty small scrap farm similar to the one I had on Silva, but I will build a much bigger automated one in the following days. So first, I need the platforms, I need storage for the scrap as well, and then a soil centrifuge, of course. I've got the auto arms in place and the printer too, and I can have another platform where I will place the trade platform so that it's close to where all the scrap gets. Then I can bring a full soil canister that I got from the rover, and I can start crafting resin. As you probably know by now, resin gets turned into canisters and the canisters get shredded, and that's how I get scrap. But one last thing I want to add is a resource canister so that I can store a lot more scrap in there. I've already used more than half the time. We are at day 52 right now, so I really need to get to some missions. That's why today I want to unlock a gateway on Glacio. But for that I'm gonna need medium generators because they provide a lot more power, and I will need all that extra power because unlocking Glacio is a lot harder. So I'll put all of them on the rover. I got some carbon, so they are ready to get turned on, and I can just dig my way to the next gateway chamber, which is pretty close to the base. This is pretty easy. All I need to do is just connect the rover to the gateway and then turn on all of them, and there it is, it's unlocked. I'll spend the next couple of days unlocking the core, but first I need to get some diamond because that's what you need to unlock Glacio's core. So now that I have that, I can just use the rover to mine straight down into the core, and this should not take that long. I'm already getting into the lower cave layers, so I must be getting close, and here's the core. But before I get into that, I want to get some astronium. I've got a resource canister and I want to fill all of it with astronium. So I found a huge node here and I got a ton of astronium. I filled that whole thing, and now I can just easily jump into the core. I've got the 2 diamonds, so I can get the geometric triptychs, and I can also unlock the core pretty easy. Now I won't fast travel back to the surface because I still need to get my rover and get up there. Now it's time to get some nanocarbon alloy, but first I use the astronium I just mined to get another portable smelting furnace. I will place this next to our smelter and I can start crafting some platforms. I got a large one and a couple smaller ones. I'm gonna use the smaller ones as storage and the large one will be used for all the RTGs that I'm gonna craft. In order to craft nanocarbon alloy, I'll need helium, steel and titanium alloy, so I'll need to craft each of those individually. Steel requires iron, carbon and argon. So now it's time for the titanium alloy, but for this I'll need graphene, so I'll need to craft 16 graphene before I can even get to crafting the titanium alloy. After I got all of that, I can finally start crafting titanium alloy, and so I've got 16 steel and 16 titanium alloy. That means I can finally start crafting all of the nanocarbon alloy. So there it is, that's my first titanium alloy. I also completed a mission for that, and the reward for this mission is the schematic for the portable oxygenator. So I will use this nanocarbon alloy to craft the portable oxygenator, and I will place it in the backpack instead of Stilgar, because I already have Rogal, which provides 6 units of power, and the portable oxygenator only consumes 1 anyway. So while the nanocarbon alloy is crafting, I still need to get lithium, because RTGs require both lithium and nanocarbon alloy, but I'll unlock the RTG and now I can start crafting them. I also used one other RTG that I had lying around in the base, so I have 16 in total. Each RTG generates 4 units of power per second and they do it constantly, so this whole platform should have 64 units of power. That's a nice addition to the base and it will help with what I have planned next. Because what comes next is an automated scrap farm. So first I unlock the auto extractor and the extra large shredder. Then I also unlock the rail post and the rail station. I also got some more exo chips from some exo caches that were pretty close to the base. And then I can start crafting the XL shredder. I also added a ton of medium resource canisters because we're gonna get a ton of scrap from this. And now it's time to get the auto extractors. I'll need 2 of them. One will get resin and the other one will get aluminum. In the meantime, I need to get some rail post bundles to build my rail system. And I also need to unlock the rail engine and the rail car. I found the resin node fairly close to the base and I placed an auto extractor on it. Now I need to get a rail going from here back to the base. It's time to find the laterite node. So the first one I tried it on, I didn't really like how much laterite was in there, so I settled on a different one. Now it's time to unlock the storage sensors and I can unpack the rail cars, place the storage on them and put the sensor on the storage. I can start crafting the rail stations as well and I can place them next to the auto extractors. Then auto arms will grab the resources and place them on the rail station, and I can get the rails from the aluminum node all the way into the base as well. Then I place the rail station and an auto arm next to the resin auto extractor, and I also set the rail station to load stopped cars. I also added auto arms that should unload the cars when they get into the base, and I used more astronium to get another portable smelting furnace because I'll need that to turn laterite into aluminum. Then I also set the printer platform and some auto arms that will get the rail posts into the shredder, and now I can put a portable smelter on top of the auto extractor that gets laterite and I can finally turn it on. So this happens fairly quick. The auto extractor gets the laterite, it gets smelted into aluminum, and I can turn on this auto arm which will grab all of the aluminum and place it into the train station. Basically the same thing happens for the resin, but there's no smelting involved here. Now I can unpack all the storages in here and I can send the cars to their auto extractors where they will get filled. You can see the resin one slowly get filled right here, so everything's working nicely, and I also completed a mission for using the auto extractors which got me a large resource canister. This can hold up to 400 resources, so that's a lot. By the next morning, the cars are already coming back to the base with all their materials. The aluminum came first and then here's the resin as well. So by night time we are already crafting rail posts and they are getting shredded into scrap. It's day 61 and it's time to unlock a gateway on Atrox. This requires a lot of power, but I brought the medium generators and the platform, so this should be pretty easy, and there it goes. And on day 62 I can start digging my way down into the core. I've got all the snails on me, so this is pretty easy. Here I float into the core and I've got hydrogen, which is what you need to unlock this. I got 2 geometric triptychs and I unlocked the core, so now I can just teleport back to the surface. It took me a couple days, but I also completed the road trip missions. So the first one was to find a structure near the North Pole of Glacio, and here I found the first of the Model A chips. This completed the mission, but it also unlocked a new one, which is sending me to a ton of other planets. So next I went to the Solo, where I used my compass and Usagi to find all the points of interest. That made it extremely easy to find the next ship on the Solo. Next I went to Kelly, Kelidor, and I also brought the large rover with a drill and paver because this is a bigger planet. And here, before finding the A chip that I was looking for, I found a B chip. So this is from a different model set with 5 different chips, but then I also found the A chip I was coming for. So after completing everything on Kelidor, I went over to Vesania, where again I found one A chip and one B chip. One was high in the mountains and the other was down low in the valleys. Aatrox was the same. I could find both chips on the equator, but I didn't expect to find them on the exact same platform, so I guess I just got very lucky on Aatrox. And I also decided to have a little bit of fun because I found the gravity globe and I completed a couple missions for riding it and for reaching the top speed. Finding the next chip was pretty similar on Novus, and then I went over to Silva where I did the exact same. With all the chips I returned to Glacio to get the rewards for all the missions, so I unlocked the extra large resource canister which can hold up to 2000 items. I got the large rover seat B, which you can attach to the front of the rover, but more importantly I got this peculiar piece which will help me start the real missions, but we'll get to those as well. Next up, I want to get a hoverboard, so I went over to the Solo where I had to find this special exo cache. I blew it up, I got an exo chip, and I also got the location of the MAT or mat, which required me to fill it up with some materials like copper, zinc, aluminum alloy and plastic. After that it just exploded out of nowhere, but that allowed me to unlock the hoverboard. I went back to Glacio to get my rewards and I had a ton of fun riding the hoverboard. This is extremely fast, but not only that, you can also carry even large items without slowing down, so you can go very fast carrying a shuttle, for example, or whatever you need. With the hoverboard, it's much easier to complete the next missions, so I went to Vesania to get the VTOL as well. I blew up a special exo cache which revealed the location of the MAT, and this needed a ton of materials. So I gave it hydrogen, nitrogen, graphite, tungsten, titanium, tungsten carbide and silicone, but it was all worth it because after it exploded, again, I don't know why, I unlocked the VTOL, which is extremely cool. You just need some hydrogen and you can take off and land anywhere you want. You can basically fly around the whole planet. You don't have to worry about terrain at all, so that was amazing. Then it was time to get back to unlocking some planets, so I went over to Kelidor. I used the platform with 4 medium generators on it to unlock a gateway, and then I dug straight down into the core where I had some explosive powder to get the triptychs, and then I used the triptych to unlock the core and I teleported back up to the gateway. I also got an extra triptych because the end of the game is just around the corner. Then I did the exact same thing on Vesania. I used the same platform with the generators and I unlocked the core using some graphene. Of course, I also got the extra triptych I've been talking about. And then I went over to Novus where I unlocked the gateway the exact same way, and then I used silicone to unlock the core. Now that I unlocked all the cores, I can finally claim the rewards for that mission, which are 1 QTRTG and 10,000 bytes. I've got less than 20 days left, so it's time to get into some missions. And what better missions to get into than the rail missions? I placed the peculiar object, which is basically a rail station, but it's more interesting. Now it's sending us to some side pylons, which I can connect to the station using some rail posts. And from there I got these crates. I need 10 of them, and that finishes the first mission. The next one is to go into the caves and find frozen argon, and I'm gonna need 20 of these. So I built a rail system into the caves and I found argon. It took a while to find all 20, but I did it, and I completed the next set of missions. Now I got a weird looking item called the curious object, which I need to place on Kelidor. For that I researched the medium solar panel and I crafted some, and then I could place them on the special rail station on Kelidor. I also needed some exochips for this, and now it's into the caves to find these artifacts. These are deeper in the caves, but I only need 10 of them. So after getting all of those, the next mission is to go deep into the mantle of the planet, like right next to the core, and get these shards, which I can only get from exploding obelisks. So I brought some dynamite along and I got all 10 of these shards, which unlocked one of the most important missions, which is to unlock coal. I had to feed some materials into the station, and that got me coal and another station that I now need to place on Silva. But Cole is extremely cool. He's the fastest train in all of Astroneer, and when you emote near him, he also emotes with you, which I think is really cute. But next I went to Silva where I placed the station, and now it's sending me all the way next to the core in the mushroom caves to get some mushrooms and bring them back. This rail system took quite a while because Silva is a bigger planet, and I found some mushrooms, I placed them on the train, and I also got a ton of astronium. And now that I got all of them into the base, I finally completed the last 2 missions and I got to meet the conductor. He's wearing the conductor suit, which I have now unlocked, so I can wear it whenever I want. And because I completed all of the rail missions, this also unlocked the first of the awakening missions, which I'll do next. It's the last 10 days, so it's time to start the awakening missions. So I got a fault finder and this spawned Eva, so now I have to keep moving it until I find her and get the next mission. So here's Eva. She's a cute little fox and she's gonna be a ton of help. But now I need to find a curious item and activate it, and this should break the sky. And it also completes the next mission, so now it's time to go into the sun room. Yes, this is the middle of the sun, it's actually an alien structure in there. And Eva's waiting for me here, and also Kronos, meaning this guy that looks a little bit weird, but we need to help him out. I also talked to Eva to get the next mission, and now I need fractal roses. So I went over to Novus to collect them, and then on Vesania to plant them in 2 different biomes. That made Eva bring me a fault finder, which I need to use and complete the memory. And this is sort of a minigame where you have to collect all of these flying orbs and bring them back to the fault finder. And after you get all of them, you can unlock that memory. It has a really cool animation as it closes and puts the memory inside of it. You can also use this for the trade platform, but I'm not gonna do that now. I'm just happy that I got the first memory fragment, so I brought it over to the sun room. And this will fix Kronos just a little bit, but I still need to find 2 more memories. A weird LRD ball also spawned. This is the subject 16. I don't know what it's about, but if you listen closely to it, you can hear some whispers, which are kinda creepy. Anyways, I need to talk to Eva a little bit more, and she's telling me about the lore of Astroneer and what happened before the Elysium crash. But let's focus on the mission. So I went back to Glacio to get my rewards, and I also got more fractal seeds, so it's time to go to Aatrox and plant them. Planting these on Aatrox gave me the next fault finder, and this also has another mini game. I think this one's more fun. You actually have to dig for them, and once you uncover them, they go back to the fault finder, and this will unlock the second memory. This is the memory fragment Discovery. So I went back to the sun room and put it in there, and this also helped Kronos a little bit, I guess. I also unlocked more lore because of this, and I can talk to Eva some more. Apart from that, I also got the Wanderer's camera and more lore on the Wanderer. If you remember, we did the Wanderer missions like 20 days ago, and I had a ton of fun doing that. But now I need to find the third and last memory, so I went over to Calidor to plant some fractal roses. And after doing that, I got the third and last fault finder. This one had an even better minigame where you need to position these things in the shape of a star, and it just looks awesome while you're doing it. But anyway, that got me the last memory fragment, Hope. So after putting that in the sun room, I got even more lore, and then I could talk to Eva, and she told me to dance. So I danced, and then a special fractal seed appeared, and I planted it to get one of the best roses in the game. And now it's finally time to send signal. I'm just gonna let you watch this cutscene because it's amazing. So that was amazing, and now I got back to Silva to plant that very special seed, and this gave me a little Eva inside of a bowl, so it's kinda like the snails, and she gives me the ability to fly, so this is kind of overpowered, but I need to feed her fractal rose seeds, which I can find over on Novus. But this flying ability is really awesome. Eva might be the best companion you can get, and her backstory is insane. After that, I headed back to Glacio to craft some more fault finders, and then you just need to play the minigame they give you, and you complete the fault finder, which you can then use at the trade platform. And you can get some insane stuff with these at the trade platform, but I decided to go for the beach ball because I wanted to have some fun. So here it is, my very own beach ball, which I can play with. I can also push it with vehicles and do whatever I want. Maybe I'll even play a game of football later. But the ending of the game is getting pretty close, so I need to complete all the leftover missions I have. I started with unlocking all of the items in Astroneer because I got so many bites. This was pretty satisfying, going into the backpack and unlocking everything, and then I completed even more missions like printing a medium battery or exploding an exocache. I also went ahead and unlocked an exo research aid, and then I crafted one more nanocarbon alloy to craft an RTG as well. Then it was time for the final mission before the ending, which is to place a shelter on each planet. So I got a field shelter and I kept placing it on each planet, then packing it back up into the shuttle and going to the next one, and that completed the mission Safe as Houses. It's day 100, so I need to complete the game today. This is the last mission set. I need to investigate the unidentified satellite, so I headed over there, and I also brought all the extra triptychs that I got from each planet. Remember how in each core I got an extra one? This is why, because I'm using them right here. So I need to place each of them on their specific symbol and then activate the odd stone, and I'm gonna let you watch this awesome cutscene next. I hope you enjoyed my 100 days in Astroneer. This is a much longer video than I usually do, and it took me dozens of hours of editing to get it out in front of you. So if you appreciate that and want to see more exciting Astroneer videos, then click that subscribe button. And one more thing, I've also just started a Discord server where we can all chat and play together. So if you want to join, you'll find the link in the description below. That's all for this video, I'll see you next time. Cheers, Astroneers!